Hey folks, this is Jason Lewis, the producer of the From the Shadows podcast. I just want to remind you about our website, fromtheshadowspodcast.com. We have a Facebook page. We would appreciate it if you like and follow. Also, join our discussion group on Facebook called After the Shadows. We have a Twitter feed. Please follow us on Twitter. It can be found with @podcast_from. Follow us on Instagram at From the Shadows Podcast. We have a YouTube channel. Go to the search bar at YouTube and put From the Shadows Podcast, and please subscribe to that channel. We are also on the Odyssey Radio Network, and we can be found there at odyssey1.com. We're still on the traditional podcatchers that everybody loves to listen to us on. We get a lot of feedback, so please rate the podcast and communicate with whether you're on Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, or Google Podcasts. We're there, and we appreciate it when you leave comments for us. Well, that's all I have for you right now, folks, and thanks for being a part of the From the Shadows podcast family. So with that being said, let's get this episode started.
Hey, this is Shane, the host of From the Shadows podcast, and I'm here with Jason, the super producer.
Greetings, everybody.
And the one and the only resident skeptic, the Ozark Howler.
Hey, I'm here. I got a story for almost everything, because I was on the street for almost 30 years, so I got a story for everything. So if you got a subject, send it to From the Shadows podcast, and I'll tell you a story about
Yeah.
it.
And for those new listeners, the Howler has 30 years of being a sheriff, a highway patrolman, air marshal, a homeland security, and probably a lifetime of just being an all-around funny dude. So
redneck, man.
Redneck. So with that, thanks for welcoming us onto the Odyssey Radio Network, and we hope that you enjoy the show. Maybe that'll have to.
Yeah, maybe we got to make that happen.
The Super
I
Dave.
don't know. I tell you, he's one of the. I told you we worked the state thing all around, right?
Yeah.
And he was an oddity, because I grew up, even though our families knew each other, like my mom knew his mom and that sort of thing. He was the youngest of 7 or 8 kids, and I was the second oldest of 6. So our parents were 15, 18 years difference in age, but we had known each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we just had different upbringings in I guess what you'd say. And but he had the innate ability, and he was the first real weed smoker I'd been around. Okay. I didn't smoke weed. I wasn't in that. I don't drink. I don't really party like that. So, he was the first real outlaw. Kids in high school that talk a lot of smack, but when it comes right down to it, they never do anything to get in trouble. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
He was the dude that he didn't talk about doing stuff because he was so busy doing it. Does that make sense? I mean, he was the real deal. When it comes to nefarious activity.
That's how it usually works, but right?
We would go to these little towns, and you'd have a construction project way out here. Now they make everybody do urine tests and all this other stuff because he would never. Today he couldn't keep his job. Maybe that's why he's down at the junkyard. But at the time, they didn't have all these OSHA rules, and we would go to these little 150, 200 people town, and where we knew nobody. Okay, we knew nobody. He was the first guy that I had been around that was a real, I don't want to say outlaw. He wasn't a mean guy. He just, he liked, he just liked what he liked. And that was, fast cars, motorcycles, smoking weed, drinking, having a good time. I mean, he was just that guy at an early age. You know what I mean? So we would go in these little towns where we knew nobody, and we would talk about, me and him and the boss or whoever was there. Sometimes there was more than us. Talk about where we're going to go out to eat. You know what I mean? Where we're going to go out to eat, and he would say, "Well, I'm going to be late," and he'd be late because he was going out to buy weed, and I never could figure out how he could go to a place where he do it. Now, this is pre-phone. You know, nowadays I guess they do stuff on the internet, Craigslist or Facebook, or whatever. But this is pre all that stuff. So he could go into a town where he knew nobody, and he could spot the weed guys and buy weed the first day you were there.
Well, okay,
how? How?
But you know, it seems that's the case, man. If you could just point, wouldn't he make a great cop? Wouldn't you think?
Because it's funny. I knew a narcotics cop, a dope cop that could do the same thing. And it's.
Isn't that amazing? Like, well, at least you'd get Super Dave as an undercover cop or something, man. He could just go flush out everybody in all those little towns.
Yeah, but he wouldn't do that because he's too anti-cop. I mean, he was like the old school anti-cop. You know what I mean? Where you just didn't help them. You didn't burn the police station down or burn their cop car. You just didn't hang out with them or so. You know what I mean? You just,
Yeah.
Yeah. The old school. Yeah. I'll tell you, huh?
It just amazes me. You can go into a town of 200 people and there's people selling weed.
Especially in those days. Yeah, I don't understand it. I don't. But my boss, my supervisor, was with me. I guess he had a drinking problem. I didn't recognize it because he could handle it so good. You know what I mean? But those guys, I remember they took me into my first bar. Like everybody's got a hometown. Well, not everybody, but like there was a bar in my hometown that you'd walk into. It was like a gas station that served liquor, or a liquor store that pumped gas, one or the other. But so that didn't really count. It was more like a bar that had a gas pump. Okay, that didn't really count.
A bar that had a gas pump.
Yes, that's what it was. It was a bar that had a gas pump. So so that didn't count. So when I say from the first bar I ever went to, the first bar like where people got carded that I ever went into, I was 18 or 19. I was on this road crew with these state dudes, and my boss and there was some big manager. Guys, I think about it now, they were probably in their late 30s to early 40s. But at the time, when you're 18, 19, you think they're old men, right? So like our age, right? So there was this gal there that worked in the hotel we were staying. And they said, "Oh, you got to ask her out. She's cute. She talks to you or whatever." And I said, "Oh, what do you do?" And they said, "Ask her, take her over to the bar and get something to eat or whatever." And I said, "Dude, I'm not 21," because I think I was 19 at the time. And I remember my supervisor said, "Oh, just walk in like you belong there, and nobody will say anything." Okay. That's what his words of wisdom was.
Yeah. Those are great. Those are great words of wisdom. If you act like you belong there, then most people think you do. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So anyhow, I get up the nerve to ask her out. Or, I say, "Hey, let's go over there and get something to eat or whatever." And she said, "Okay." And whatever day of the week it was, she met me there, and I walked in. I'm nervous as hell because I'm you know what I mean? I'm not 21. I think she was, 21, 22 or whatever. I wasn't even 21. So I walk in this bar with her and tell her to get whatever she wanted, and she orders this fancy, I don't know, big daiquiri of some sort. You know what I mean? Like big, like it looked like you cut off half a lava lamp. That's what it looked like. That's what it was. So I remember paying with a $20 bill.
Oh,
and I got like, huh?
That must have been cheap. That was some cheap stuff, huh?
Well, I paid with a $20 bill, and that's back when I was making like $3.75 an hour, and I'm not making that up, So $20 was a big bill back then to me. And the dude gives me like $1.75 back or something.
For just a drink?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
so now I'm going, can I I'm not even 21. Can I even confront this guy? Right?
Because you think he overcharged you or what?
So, but my supervisors, hey, because they would come in there and drink every night at 5:30 or whatever, or 6 or whatever time it was. You know what I mean? They'd get off work, they'd take a shower, they'd go down there and eat and drink. So she got up to go to the bathroom, do something. My boss come over and said, "How's it going?" I said, "Dude, I'm gonna have to borrow some money." He goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "That freaking drink was $18 and something." He goes, "Oh, come on." I said, "I swear I give the dude $20." He walked right over to the bartender and goes, "What the F did you charge him for that drink?" And the guy goes, "What do you mean?" And he said, "He only give you $1.75. He goes, "Well, didn't he give me a $5?" So, and personally, I think the dude just ripped me off knowing I wasn't 21.
Oh, yeah.
What was I going to do, right?
Yeah.
So now the bartender, who's in his 20s or whatever, he's got these old men confronting me at the bar, so he gave me all my change. So I was saved by that. What do you think that's cool?
Oh my goodness!
I could make 1,000 podcasts on working the road when you're 18, 19 years old with a bunch of 40-year-old dudes that had this boss of mine. He's dead. You know what's funny is I looked him up last year. I was going to go visit him, and he had passed away already about 3 years ago. But then I was really sad about it. But he had been married, I think, 6 times.
Oh my God!
Wow.
Yes, and it was one of those deals. He had went to high school with my big boss. So I was like 19, 18. I was probably 19, and they come down one day and say, "Hey, you're getting a new supervisor, and it's this guy." And this old, haggard looking, I tell you who he looked like, a skinny Don Williams. He had flowing gray hair that he'd part in the middle with a big old 1978 like fat-tailed brush or comb, you know what I'm talking about? He'd carry in his pocket.
Oh, yeah.
He'd feather both sides back. Like a gray wolf.
Hey, I remember those days back. You'd go into the bathroom at lunch, and like my buddy Todd, that was on the podcast, he'd always carry one of those big combs in his back pocket.
Yeah,
and brush his hair back. Come on, man.
So great. That was this dude, man, and he had. I don't care if it was a car broke down. He had a story for everything. A story for everything. I don't care what it was. You know what I mean? And his 6th wife was his first wife, if that makes sense. So he got married to like 18 or 19, and then got divorced. He went through 5 wives in 25 years, and he was back in his hometown, married to the girl he went to high school with. And it was just absolutely nuts. Just absolutely nuts. And
now that's a country song right there. Back where I started.
Yes, that's exactly right. You would. I don't know who you get to sing anymore because I don't know any real country singers. But maybe you can get a Merle Haggard ballad. Is Merle still alive?
No.
Oh, see, so that's out of touch I am, man. So, yeah, back where y'all started from.
But hey, I'm right. By the way, I'm writing that down right now. Back where I started from.
That's right. That's it. Now I hope I get a co-credit on that. You know what I mean? Because if I was, I'd turn it into a rap. I'd turn it into a rap because I can't play guitar, so I can't get my music right. Yeah. Oh man, I'm telling you, bring back some memories. Man. Working with old people.
Well, the crazy thing is when you, just like you said, when you start doing the math and you start realizing that you're the same age as some of the people when you were like 18 and 19, and you looked at them and thought they were old, and now we don't. And now they're younger than what we are now.
Right.
And you realize, like, man.
And you kind of feel like a failure because I only had one wife and only worked a couple of places. And I only worked a couple of places my whole life. So maybe I didn't live up to my, that's why I can't write the song because I didn't live the life,
Either that or you learned the lessons they were trying to teach.
Well, I just thought of that. It's kind of funny. Some of these guys had fragmented relationships with their kids. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah.
But at the same time,
I totally understand.
But at the same time, they took such care, because I wasn't the only teenager there, right? Okay? They took such care with teenagers that wasn't even nerds to try to, I don't know if they were trying to, you know what I mean, make up for something lost somewhere else or something. Does that make sense?
I believe, going through this with a couple of my daughters, that the lessons you try to teach your own kids, they don't have any interest in listening to you because you don't know anything.
Right.
That you enjoy the fact that there's kids clever or smart enough to know that you have something of value to teach them. And I think when you find those kids or young adults, you're like, okay, well, you want to learn, everything I got to teach. I'll teach it to you, because other people just, they don't either care or they take it for granted. So
yeah, what's funny is, and of course, I guess you introduced me in the podcast where there for a brief time I was a state trooper, and when those old guys would see me in my uniform, I was like a celebrity to them. Does that make sense? I was like an absolute celebrity to them. And then, of course, I went to the federal government. I moved away for 20 years. I've moved back, and most of them are gone. It's really sad, because I'd like to sit down with them and just tell them some of the, I got some stories to tell. You know what I mean? So, but a lot of them are gone. A lot of them are gone. What do you do?
That's why you can't take that for granted, right?
I guess.
You really can't.
I guess. I don't know. It sounds like you're ending on a sad note here. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing sad about imparting your wisdom on the youth. It's sad if they just don't accept it. And
well, I think it's natural that they don't, isn't it?
Yeah, they don't like to listen. That's for sure. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Midweek Howl. Until next time, never shy away from the darkness or what may be lurking in the shadows. We are out.